NBA players that would dominate together if they wore the same jersey. There are some pairings in the NBA that we will likely never see. However, NBA fans going through hypothetical scenarios is a very common pastime, whether that be comparing players to each other, having the greatest of all time debate, trying to figure out who the best team of all time is, and players who would make great teammates together. Throughout NBA history, there have been some players who on paper would have been absolutely perfect together in all aspects of the game. Today, we will be looking at some of the best hypothetical pairings both in the current NBA, and also we'll be dipping into NBA history, and looking at NBA players that would dominate together if they wore the same jersey. LeBron James and Zion Williamson. The first hypothetical pairing that would dominate together if they wore the same jersey would be LeBron James and Zion Williamson. These two have similar games to each other, and Zion has been drawing many early comparisons to LeBron. The only issue that these two players would have if they were on the same team would be floor spacing. In today's NBA, it is almost essential for a team with two-star players to have at least one of them who is an above-average shooter. However, if there was a pairing of LeBron and Zion, that would not be the case. The surrounding roster would have to be filled with players who can space the floor, and would leave the floor spread so LeBron and Zion would have driving lanes, and the defense would not be able to just collapse on them whenever they took the ball to the hoop. Outside of that point, however, LeBron and Zion on the same team would dominate the NBA, and would possibly be the best thing that could happen to Zion's career. If he had a leader and mentor like LeBron to learn from and try to mold his game around, LeBron could turn Zion into being one of the most versatile players in the league. Along with this, he would be able to see firsthand the insane lengths that LeBron goes through to preserve his body, and could explain why he's been able to play in the league for such a long time. One of the biggest concerns with Zion is the fact that he could be plagued with injuries his entire career. He has already been sidelined in the first half of his rookie season, and hopefully for Zion and Pelican fans alike, that will be his last major injury we will see from him. With LeBron and Zion on the same team, we could see a very scary pick-and-roll duo between the two, which would give opposing defenders nightmares trying to guard two of the most dominant players in the league at the rim. Along with this, because LeBron is such a skilled passer and playmaker, along with Zion being one of the most athletic players with an insane vertical, LeBron would be able to show off his full-court passing ability for Zion to run fast breaks, along with Zion within this scenario being the closest thing we have seen to a prime Lob City Blake Griffin, and would definitely have a few players in body bags of all the alley-oops from LeBron if they were to play with each other. Lastly, this would easily be the most covered team of all time from ESPN if their two poster boys in the NBA, LeBron and Zion, were to play on the same team, especially in a big market like Los Angeles or New York. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Stephen Curry. The next pairing on the list is something that we could possibly see in the next year or two. That pairing is Giannis Antetokounmpo and Stephen Curry. It is rumored that Giannis will possibly be traded to the Warriors by next year's trade deadline if signs are pointing for him not signing back with the Milwaukee Bucks. This would be a truly scary duo, and could be the best teammate that Curry has ever had, even over Kevin Durant. A team works best for Giannis when there are players around him that can stretch the floor and allow him to have an easier time getting to the basket, as he is still working on finding a jump shot. And there is no better shooter in the league, and possibly in league history, than Stephen Curry. Curry can score from anywhere within half court, and having opposing teams trying to stick with him while trying to help around the basket guarding Giannis would be nearly impossible. Along with this, both players are very good playmakers and would be able to find each other open from anywhere with the great vision that they both have. If Giannis is traded to the Warriors, it is likely that we will see a revival of the Golden State Warriors dynasty that only took a year off, and could possibly be one of the best turnarounds record-wise that we have seen from a basketball team, going from the best odds to have the first pick in the draft to being one of the frontrunners for contenders for the NBA title. Luka Doncic and James Harden. The next pairing would have James Harden and Luka Doncic on the same team. This would be one of the most interesting teams to watch in the league, as their offense would be almost unstoppable. It would put two of the best scorers in the league on the same team together. However, there would be some problems and question marks if the two were to team up. The first would be the redundancy in their games. Both are ball-dominant score-first players, who can play either the 1 or 2 guard. This would either work perfectly in their favor, or would make them a very easy team to figure out. However, thinking of defenses trying to guard two of the best scorers in the league who can shoot from anywhere, along with go off for 40 points without anyone batting an eye, would be scary for the rest of the league. Along with this, Doncic and Harden are two players who are consistently getting to the free throw line. Either we would see officials call games much looser for teams that were playing against the duo, or we would see whoever they were playing constantly be in foul trouble. With both Harden and Luka being such ball-dominant players, it could lead to some issues. Both are the driving forces of the offense on their own teams, and as we have seen with Harden and playing with Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook, his game suffers greatly when the ball is not in his hands, and if he is not effective on offense, then there is no point in having him in the game. With Luka having the ball in his hands so much on this hypothetical team, it is likely that Harden's numbers would greatly drop. He would be forcing more shots, and we would not see as much of an effort from him on defense. This brings me to my next point. A team with Luka and Harden as the two stars would be atrocious defensively. Both are not known for their defense, and would have to bank simply on outshooting and outscoring the other teams to win games, not playing hard-nosed basketball and relying on defense to get them anywhere. However, with this style of basketball, they would be one of the most fun teams in the league to watch. It would take the league by storm. If both Harden and Luka were on fire on any given night, it would not be insane for both of them to have a 30-plus point triple-double. Russell Westbrook and Joel Embiid. The next team is probably the weakest duo out of any that we'll cover. However, it would be very fun to watch. This would be a pairing of Joel Embiid and Russell Westbrook. This would simply never happen because the two hate each other. However, in a world that they didn't, this would be one of the most instigating teams in NBA history. Westbrook and Embiid are both known for their outlandish trash talking, and for Embiid taking to social media after games to continue his verbal onslaught of opponents. If Patrick Beverley and Draymond Green were to be added to this team as well, they would be one of the best defensive teams we have seen since the Detroit Pistons in the 2000s. Along with this, it would bring back the hard-nosed, defensive, in-your-face, trash-talking mentality that has been missing from the game for years. With these four players, they would be living in their opponents' heads, rent-free. With this team, you would have to accept that there would be a large number of technical fouls called against your team, since all the players previously named are known as hotheads. However, this would be a very interesting change of pace from the game that we see today. It would be the closest thing that we'll ever see to there being a team like the 2000s Pistons, or the bad boy Pistons again. Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, and Michael Jordan. The next hypothetical team could go one of two ways when talking about the situation. It could be seeing all three players in their primes, which would be by far the best big three ever assembled, or a realistic situation in which Michael Jordan left the Chicago Bulls when Phil Jackson did, and followed his coach to the Los Angeles Lakers to play with Shaq and Kobe. This could work out for all three players. However, it would require Kobe playing with a more limited role on the team to play with and learn from his idol, which is something that Kobe, even at such a young age, would not have been willing to do. Shaq may have had to take a slight pay cut to make room for Jordan on the payroll. Lastly, Jordan would have to sacrifice his legacy as only being a Chicago Bull. However, this was something he was not afraid of, as shown by when he threatened to join the New York Knicks to play with Patrick Ewing. He said that he did not want to play for another coach after Phil Jackson, and only play for the Wizards to better the value of the team that he was a part owner of. If the Buss family were to, under the table, offer Jordan a stake of the team in return for him playing on a smaller contract, it would eliminate the need for Shaq to take a pay cut, and possibly even a quality bench around the team. Touching back on Shaq's contract, with him already being signed to a 7-year deal, it would require the team to go back to the negotiating table with the big man, and either extend the number of years on his contract while keeping the initial amount agreed upon, or somehow finesse the cap space to fit all three stars on the team. This would give Jordan a chance to get back at Jerry Krause in the Bulls front office that he had grown to despise, and go to a franchise that has shown time and time again that they value their stars greatly. All three players showed that they thrived in Phil Jackson's triangle offense, and there is no chance that a team, even with Kobe not yet being in his prime and Jordan beginning to decline, would not win at least one championship. It is also a lock that Kobe would pass Jordan's test that he puts all his teammates through, and with Kobe being under Jordan's wing and learning everything that Jordan would share, it is likely that he would become the Kobe that we knew and loved even sooner than he did in real life. This team would be absolutely unstoppable, and as long as chemistry issues never came into the picture, and the addition of Michael Jordan did not stunt the growth of Kobe but rather facilitated it, it would create the best dynasty we have ever seen, and could possibly have led Jordan to retiring with even more than 6 rings. Final thoughts. In conclusion, pairings of players like LeBron James and Zion Williamson, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Stephen Curry, Luka Doncic and James Harden, a team of Patrick Beverley, Russell Westbrook, Draymond Green, and Joel Embiid, and a team of Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kobe Bryant would be teams and pairings that would absolutely dominate the league if these players were all wearing the same jersey. Even if a team had things that could possibly be the downfall of the team, sometimes when there's enough talent on a team, it simply outweighs and makes the problems become unnoticeable, and championships make everyone involved look at things through rose-tinted glasses, as we did with the Kevin Durant-led Golden State Warriors. Thank you for watching another UpNext Sports video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment naming some other pairings or possible teams that you would love to see or you think would completely take over the league. Be sure to join us next time for more basketball content similar to this.